The Notebook, one of the world's most beloved love stories, is coming to Manila, and a Filipino Kiwi performer is taking center stage. Good morning, I'm Atty. Karen Jimeno, and this is At the Forefront. Actor and singer Laurence Mossman continues to build an impressive international career, now taking on the role of Middle Noah in the international premiere of the Notebook Musical. Born in New Zealand with Filipino roots, Laurence has earned praise for his powerful vocals and compelling stage presence in productions across the world. As he brings to life one of the most iconic romantic characters in modern storytelling, we talk about his journey, his heritage, and the challenge of stepping into a story that has touched millions around the world. Let us all welcome Laurence Mossman. Hi, Laurence.
Hi, Attorney. How are you?
And first of all, congratulations on being casted for the Notebook Musical.
Thank you so much. Very, very excited.
So what was your reaction the first time you heard that you were casted as Middle Noah?
Yeah, the first time I heard, obviously I was over the moon and a little bit nervous, but of course I'm so excited, most of all because I get to return to the Philippine stage and perform for Philippine audiences. Of course, it's the international premiere of the Notebook as well, so that's really also a bonus to be able to do that here in the Philippines.
And do you know how many tried out for that part of Middle Noah?
I'm not too sure about that part of the casting process. All I know is that they reached out to me in London, and yeah.
So they reached out to you, you didn't have to try out for the part?
No, I mean, I didn't know that it was happening because it was all very secretive. But obviously they reached out to me. I still had to send in material and do all the, jumping through the hoops and things like that. But obviously they liked what they saw, and I'm just absolutely over the moon, very grateful that I get to play this role.
The Notebook is already a very well-loved first novel,
yes,
and then film. Did that make the role for this Notebook musical more exciting or more intimidating?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think it's a bit of both. I think that in having obviously the movie become so successful, I think it came out in 2004 and everybody remembers those amazing performances by Rachel McAdams and Ryan Gosling. That kind of set the bar very, very high for this particular story. But then again, this is the musical version of that, so it's different in a lot of ways. And I'm not so intimidated about putting this production on and stepping into the role of Middle Noah. I'm really genuinely more excited to be able to flesh out a character that's unique to how I'm going to do it and perform it with my fellow Filipino artists.
Since you mentioned Ryan Gosling as that Hollywood actor that was casted for the film version,
yes,
did you feel a pressure to make your character different from this idea that people identify Middle Noah with Ryan Gosling?
Yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of pressure, but I have to say that when it comes to taking on any character in musical theatre with existing media already, you can either choose to do a half-baked version of what Ryan Gosling's already had, or the other option is to be truthful to the text and the character that's already been written down through the script and through the music. And I'm going to definitely take that path. It's always nice to take inspiration from existing movies and things like that, but at the end of the day, it's you who's going to be stepping on the stage, and I think I'll feel more comfortable doing something that I've created that's true to myself versus trying to replicate what Ryan Gosling had already done.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done a fantastic job and everybody can agree. It's one of the great romantic movie performances, but at the end of the day, I'm going to be bringing to the stage something that I'm very, very comfortable with and the best version of Middle Noah that I can do.
So you're definitely creating your own version of what Middle Noah would be in this musical.
Absolutely, yes.
What aspects of Noah's personality or journey resonated with you the most
It's really interesting because in the musical you get to see Noah and Ali over 3 different time periods, and they're played very interestingly by 3 different sets of actors. Obviously, me playing middle Noah, I'm a little bit closer to his journey in my personal life, but at the same time I can look back on younger Noah's journey and to see just a lot of parts that are almost beat for beat how I experienced my early relationships. And I think we can all understand when we first fell in love, when those sparks flew, there was fireworks and we all went through the honeymoon phase, when you first find love and people that you're passionate about. But at the same time, with middle Noah, he's gone through that journey. He's loved, but he's also had heartbreak. He's gone off to war and come back to a life that is a lot more empty than before. And I think we can all resonate with our different journeys about love, loss, heartbreak, and things like that. And it's very, very exciting to play.
You've performed in major productions like Miss Saigon, Kinky Boots, Fun Home, and Mamma Mia. How does the Notebook musical compare in terms of emotional and artistic demands?
Yeah, I mean, anytime I take on a role, all these musicals are very, very different in their own way. Kinky Boots was the first time I really got to step out in a romantic lead role, and there were a lot of challenges with that, both in fleshing out a character as well as the singing. You know, some of those songs were very, very hard. But at the same time, with Miss Saigon, that was it's one of the great mega musicals, and it's something that's really, really important also, being a Filipino and to Filipino artists and living up to that. But with the Notebook specifically, it's a very human and grounding musical. It's something that audiences can relate to. I think that's why the book and the movie have been so popular, is people can relate their own lives and their personal relationships and navigating that with the characters of Noah and Ellie. So I'm personally looking forward to just bringing my experience and bringing my raw human emotions and experiences to performing this role.
The musical of the Notebook, because we've seen the movie, the novel, it explores ideas of lasting love, memory, and of course the loss as well. What conversations do you want the audience to take away with them when they leave the theater after having seen the Notebook musical?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot going on in the musical. Obviously the themes of love, fighting for the things that you really love, and the whole passion and the drama that goes along with that. People are going to be talking about the performances, and of course people are going to be talking about the singing. I hope they're going to be talking about how wonderful this particular cast is that they've brought together. There's some real heavyweight legends, especially playing our older Noah and Ellie, and then you've got some amazing new talent up and comers as well. But ultimately it is a show about hope, as well as the journeys that these characters go on. Ultimately we have to talk about older Ellie's condition. Spoiler alert, she has Alzheimer's. But these are things that we're learning a little bit more now about. They may have been potentially taboo subjects in the past. We didn't quite have the words for it. But I hope that we're going to be a little bit more open to these types of conditions, and ultimately having these conversations, because there's a lot of people. I can personally say that I've been affected by parents who have had not quite Alzheimer's but dementia, and seeing how it can really affect people.
And these are your parents?
Yes, yeah. So both my dad and stepdad had dementia, and you can see how it sort of affects them. They are there, but their mind isn't quite there, so they're kind of shells of who they used to be, and it's very, very, very sad. But I think a lot of people will resonate either because they know people who have gone through that, or they may be going through it themselves. But I think we'll be a little bit more open to those conversations. And at the end of the day, it's just such a beautiful love story about, no matter what, choosing love every single day. And no matter if we don't know, Ellie is going to remember Noah when she's older on a particular day, he still continues to choose to love her. And that's a really, really special thing.
You mentioned some heavyweights in this cast. Was there anyone in particular that you found intimidating to work with?
Well, we all met actually for the first time 2 days ago. And it wasn't really intimidating, it's just really more excitement. Obviously, Celeste Legaspi is a legend in the acting world, as well as OPM. And of course, I was so excited to meet Morissette again, because she's going to be my scene partner. And everybody knows she has such a fantastic voice, but she's such a pure, hard-working soul. And I really can't wait for people to see her shine on stage even bigger than she already shines. It's going to be such a treat for audiences, for sure.
What makes this Manila production of Notebook the Musical different from other productions in the past?
I think, again, I have to go back to the story. It's really such a grounded human story, and that's why people relate to it. A lot of theatre, is about the big flashy numbers and the big, huge ensembles, dance numbers and things like that. This isn't that type of musical. It's very intimate, it's very human, and again, people are going to look at young, middle and older versions of Noah and Ellie and just pick out little parts that resonate to them. And that's really what I'm looking forward to seeing, to having those conversations with people who are going to watch the show after the show, and then seeing what they resonated with, because I can already see there are certain parts of the different versions that I relate to, but we're all different, we all go through different journeys, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what people have to say.
In the past, Theatre Group Asia has put some Filipino elements in their production.
Yeah.
Would you say that the same thing could be expected from the Notebook Musical?
Yeah, to a certain degree. I mean, first of all, it is an entirely Filipino cast, and every time you get entirely Filipino cast, of course, the performances are going to be amazing, but we're going to bring our own lens to it, our own experiences to the role. The great thing about the Notebook is it's not necessarily, yes, it might be set in North Carolina, but it's a very universal story. So we're going to bring some of those sort of Filipino elements just because we are Filipino. But also, it's set here, and it's the first time, I believe, that it's been done outside of Broadway and the US, so it's not going to be exactly what you have seen over there. It's going to be uniquely ours. It's a non-replica production. I don't know exactly what we're going to be met with in terms of set and costume, but it's something that I'm very, very, very proud to say that is going to be uniquely our own.
You're a proud Filipino Kiwi performer, but you've worked across the globe. How has your cultural background shaped you as a performer? But before you answer this question, we'll have to take a short break. At the Forefront, we'll be right back. Welcome back at the Forefront, and we're still with the star of the Notebook Musical, Laurence Mossman. Laurence, you're a proud Filipino Kiwi performer, but you've worked across the globe. How has your cultural background shaped you as a performer?
Yeah, I mean, I have, I guess, the unique lens of being a mixed race Filipino Kiwi who was born in New Zealand. I was raised there. and then ended up moving to the Philippines when I was 24 years old. I lived here for about 7 years, and that's when I was introduced to musical theatre. And being a mixed race child in New Zealand was always a bit of a struggle for me in terms of identity, and I think a lot of people have experienced this type of thing growing up, not knowing where you quite fit in, and I would often actually sort of deny my Filipino side just because I wanted to fit in. And as I grew up, finally, thankfully, I learned to really own that. And it wasn't until I came to the Philippines and started working that I really just was appreciative of that side. So instead of trying to fit into my Kiwi side or fit into my Filipino side, it's more of a case of it's my superpower. I'm this wonderful, child of mixed race parents, and I can absolutely own that, and I think that's my superpower. It's what makes me different, and similar to Noah's experience, he never really felt like he had to fit in, and neither do I.
Yeah,
And,
very
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
So interesting parallelism with your character now as
Exactly.
Middle Noah. Many young Filipino artists dream of performing on international stages. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced in breaking into the global theater scene?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got a different journey in terms of how they get into theatre or any sort of artistry. Obviously, there are certain challenges with, going up for roles and auditioning and things like that. But I've been fortunate to have, been cast in different musicals over the years. And I would just have to say that, the biggest challenge is just believing in yourself at the end of the day. You can never know what the casting team are thinking. You could absolutely want a role 100% with your heart, and at the end of the day, you might just get a no, you're not quite right for this particular production, and it's going to hurt sometimes. But as you grow older and you go through a lot of rejection, and I think a lot of actors feel this on a daily basis, you go through a lot of rejection and you realize that you can't control what they're thinking. You just have to do your best. You have to continue to learn. You have to love your art, love the art form, and do it for the right reasons. I actually left musical theatre and singing for about 2 years there because I felt that I wasn't doing it for the reasons that I set out to. I fell out of love with it, and it took me 2 years of not singing to realize that actually I want to come back to it. I want to come back to it and do it for the reasons that I want to do it, and that's because of the love and the passion that I feel every time I get up on the stage. And now that I've come back, I can see it through fresh eyes, and I really enjoy it. And it was about the same time that I went back into it that I got cast in Miss Saigon. So it's, again, all people have different journeys, but at the end of the day, you've just got to continue to do what you love to do, and if the roles pop up, then that's just a blessing.
And speaking of roles, you've also played some roles here in Philippine productions like Dolce Amore and Die Beautiful. How important is it for you to connect with a Filipino audience?
Yeah, I mean, it's so important. Firstly, just on a spiritual level, because growing up in New Zealand, I didn't know about my family roots other than what my mom had taught me. She would quite often cook adobo, and that was like my favorite meal growing up. But other than that, it really means a lot to me spiritually, to be able to come to the Philippines and learn about the culture and assimilate into the culture, but at the same time being able to perform for the Philippines, because we know that art, entertainment and singing is such a big part of the culture, and I just really found myself very, very proud to be a Filipino, because that's such a big part of the culture. Everybody sings, everybody loves to sing, everybody, we all sing in church and we all sing karaoke, and it's that to me just spoke to me. That's how I felt, I am Filipino. This is it.
And now you're going to bring the Notebook musical to a Filipino audience. I'm sure they're going to be excited and probably singing along with the cast.
Yes.
Even as part of the audience.
Absolutely, yeah.
But let's talk about your training. You hold a first class honors degree in music. How has your academic training influenced your approach to performance and storytelling?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I mean, I've always loved music, and I grew up singing and playing musical instruments. Having a first-class honours degree just sort of represents a side of me that obviously I'm passionate about music, but I'm also a big nerd. And every time I perform, I always bring that sort of lens to learning new material, and with the songs, in any show, I always like to dig deep and almost, study it in a way like you were studying it at a university level. There's a lot in the score and the script of every show, including the Notebook, that says a lot. There's a lot of subtext. When it comes to Noah, and the beauty of musical theatre is that you can perform and quite often hear their inner monologues. It's not just what they're saying out loud, but a lot of it is what they're thinking, and you really get to see that in this particular medium, as opposed to the movie. You can't always hear what they're saying inside, but with the medium of musical theatre, you can see and hear what they're thinking, and that's the fun part, because you get to go, what does it mean when an emotionally charged scene has really, really high notes? What does it mean when they have dialogue, and how that all fits in? So again, it comes back to that sort of nerdy part of the music, how are we expressing ourselves in what we say or sing? It's really, really exciting.
And you've performed in so many theaters in different parts of the world. Mm-hmm. For this, the Notebook musical, is there anything different that we'll expect in Samsung Performing Arts Theatre? Because in the past productions of Theatre Group Asia, mm-hmm. they've even had Request sa Radio, mm-hmm. where they completely redid the whole theatre. Mm. Is this more straightforward? You mentioned less flashiness, what can we expect?
I honestly don't know. I wish I could tell you. It's all a surprise to me.
So you made the audience more curious now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's totally up to the creative team about how they're going to tell this story. I've heard little glimpses about what we can expect, but at the end of the day, I also am going to have to wait to rehearsals to see what the vision is. I know it's going to be a beautiful set. I know we might have nods to some of the most dramatic scenes. We all know about the rain scene. We all know about the big dramatic moments. I don't know what they're going to be like, but I know that they're going to do a very, very good job, and then we as actors get to play around in the space. So I can't tell you exactly what it is.
It's going to be interesting. Wasn't there a Ferris wheel at some point? So I wonder how they will do that.
We might have to go to Manila Bay and just
or put a Ferris wheel inside.
Exactly.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Looking back on your career so far, was there a defining moment that made you realize this is the path that I'm meant to take?
That's a really, really good question. That moment happens every time I'm on stage. It's not one particular moment. I think every time I'm on stage, and it's not about the applause, it's not about the recognition, it's about sharing a part of myself that I'm very, very proud, and that's my artistry, that's my singing. And someone asked me recently, when I mentioned that I'm a musical theatre singer, they asked me, well, why musical theatre? And I answered simply, it's the thing that makes me happiest. I've tried a lot of things in my life. I've tried doing corporate, I've tried doing marketing, I've tried doing all these different things, TV, acting, movies, and my gosh, it's hard. I have a lot of respect for TV and movie acting.
So you don't want to host for Bilyonaryo News Channel?
I just don't know how you do it. But there's something about me particularly when I go on stage that feels most myself, and that's when I'm at my happiest. I haven't found anything else in life that brings me that much joy and that much satisfaction, and until I do, I'm going to continue to do musical theatre.
So what has been the most rewarding part of being part of Theatre Group Asia's cast of the Notebook musical?
I guess it's just the excitement of what we're going to be able to create together. We haven't had rehearsals yet. I've only met some of the cast, and they are genuinely extremely talented and extremely good people, and they're just as excited as I am to create these wonderful characters in our own way and be able to share that with the Filipino audience. It's really, really, really exciting.
And I'm sure the production team has at least described to you their vision for what this would be like.
Yeah.
If you can describe this production in just 3 words, what would they be?
That's really tough. 3 words, I would have to say love, hope, and determination.
Love is the number one.
Love
and how
is number
fitting,
one.
because
Yeah,
this is really
exactly.
a love story.
It's a love story,
Yeah.
and we're in the Philippines, and it's the land of love. So much so that you have an entire month called Love Month, right? So it's all about love, and I think that's really going to resonate with Filipino audiences. We love love. Yeah.
Finally, for viewers who may be deciding whether to watch the Notebook musical, because a lot of people have read the books, a lot of people have seen the movie, why should they experience it live at Samsung Performing Arts Theater?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's only on for 3 weeks. So if you don't catch it, unfortunately, if you come to the show, you're going to laugh and cry with us. If you don't get a ticket, I think you're going to cry just as much. So, yeah. But aside from that, it's going to be a beautiful show full of absolutely talented people telling probably the greatest romantic story of our generation. So please, please, please come along and share in the love with us.
Thank you again, Laurence. Congratulations.
Thank you so
and we're
much.
so excited to see the Notebook musical here in Manila.
Thank you, Atty. I appreciate that.
Thank you. From New Zealand to the world stage, Laurence Mossman's journey is a reminder that talent, hard work, and heritage can come together in extraordinary ways. As he helps bring one of the most cherished love stories of our time to life, he also carries with him the pride of representing Filipino excellence on the global stage. Be informed, be insightful of the news. I'm Attorney Karen Jimeno. Always stay at the forefront.